done to deserve such a fate? I realize I have left it too late. And so it's true, pride comes before a fall. I'm telling you so that you won't lose all. I'm a loser, and I lost someone who's near to me. I'm a loser, and I'm not what I appear to be. Alrighty, thanks for the Carl Perkins tribute there, George. Okay, this is one of the great Lennon and McCartney duets. I'm sure you heard the song. They actually played this song live for a minute or year or so. Is that right, Jay?
It is right. And you would announce it. This is a waltz, a slow waltz.
Oh dear, what can I do? Baby's in black and I'm feeling blue. Tell me, oh, what can I do? I think of her, and so she dresses in black. And though she'll never come back, she's dressed in black. Oh dear, what can I do? Baby's in black and I'm feeling blue. Tell me, oh, what can I do? I think of her, but she thinks only of him. And though it's only a whim, she thinks of him. Oh, how long will it take till she sees the mistake she has made? Dear, what can I do? Baby's in black and I'm feeling blue. Tell me, oh, what can I do? Oh, how long will it take till she sees the mistake she has made? Dear, what can I do? Baby's in black and I'm feeling blue. Tell me, oh, what can I do? She thinks of him, so she dresses in black. Though she'll never come back, she's dressed in black. Oh dear, what can I do? Baby's in black and I'm feeling blue. Tell me, oh, what can I do?
Again.
Okay, so yeah, accompanying every album the Beatles released, there's always at least one, probably two #1 hits. They released singles aside from the actual album, so as to not cheat the public like Capitol Records did here in America. But Capitol Records cut up Beatles for Sale and made two different albums. We got Beatles 65 and Beatles 6, I think. And anyway, this is another from that batch, everyone should know. It was another #1 hit. And Ron Howard made a movie of the same name.
He did.
Yeah.
Opie.
Yeah. Right? Am I wrong?
Opie Cunningham.
Right. Yeah, Richie Cunningham. Yeah, 8 days a week.
Hold me, love me. I ain't
got nothing, Jay. Okay, so this is the soundscape going into the year 1965, and is the Beatles, of course, #1 album, #1 hits. That would be standard fare by now. And so they embark in between February and June of 1965, not only working on their next album, but their next movie. Remember, they did Hard Day's Night the summer before, 1964. Now they're working on Help. Who saw Help? One person? Everybody, okay, yeah. Who saw it in the theaters when it was new? I did. My aunt took me. I ran up and down the aisles, she said. Anyway. Oops, sorry, doing math there, Bruce, along with you. So, it's what you expect. This is going to be the next blockbuster movie and soundtrack with a slew of hits that will pretty much lead the way into the summer of 1965. And, well, let's just go ahead and start with the theme song, title track. How about that?
Help! I need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. Help! You know I need someone. Help! When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I finally changed my mind. I've opened up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? And now my life has changed in so many ways. My independence seems to vanish in the haze. But every now and then I feel so insecure. I know that I just need you like I've never done before. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? When I was younger, so much younger than today, never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I've changed my mind, I've opened up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me, help me, help me.
Thank you. Safe. That one's hard. Scary.
Pretty good, turns out.
Okay, we just learned it yesterday, so I don't know. Now for one of Brad's favorites. So how about a hand for George Harrison? There's always all this Lennon and McCartney stuff. Ringo Starr, for that matter. So this next song was on the Help soundtrack and movie, if you remember, that George Harrison contributed. It was his second original composition for the Beatles. The first one was on with the Beatles, Don't Bother Me. So, it took him another year to come up with another, but this is a pretty good one. George is nipping at the heels. Don't worry. He's going to make his way into the story prominently. And are we good? I'm good. Okay. And Jay Willoughby is going to do his famous George Harrison imitation for you right now with I Need You.
You don't realize how much I need you. I'll give all the time, I never leave you. Please come. tell me, how was I to know you would upset me? I didn't realize as I looked in your eyes, you told me, oh yeah, you told me you don't want my love anymore. That's when it hurt me. Feeling like this, I just can't go on anymore. Please remember how I feel about you. I could never really live without you. So come on back and see just what you mean to me. I need you. Oh yeah, you told me you don't want my love anymore. That's when it hurt me. And feeling like this, I just can't go on anymore. Please remember how I feel about you. I could never really live without you. So come on back and see just what you mean to me. I need you. I need you. I need you.
All right, George Harrison fans out there. I always think of the scenes in the movie with these songs. I can't remember what that one was.
I Need You, well, I do remember, but it'll bore the hell out of everybody.
Not me.
It
all
was
that
when
matters.
they were in the like the desert thing, and the tank was out there, and they were being.
I'm already bored.
But the bad guys were underground and taking.
That was I Need You?
Yeah.
Already bored.
Yeah. What? You're already bored.
Already
I'm
bored.
Bored.
Peyton
Yeah.
just wants a paycheck. He's got to go home. He's got kids at home and all that.
All right. This next song, what scene was it?
This is
You know.
yes. This,
Got to dig deep, people.
that song is "You're Gonna Lose That Girl," and this was the studio scene, the little
Studio.
mock studio scene, and
Everybody
Ringo
sm-
had his
everybody
ashtray
smoking.
on this floor tom, I think. Yeah, same kit, by the way. I notice. Cigarette pack on the snare.
And they were cutting a hole around the drums, and at the end of the song, he fell through it.
Oh, that's right, and the tiger thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody.
There's a
good
test
board?
later. So if you're taking notes, that would be extensive.
You're gonna lose that girl. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. If you don't take her out tonight, she's gonna change her mind. She's gonna change her mind. And I will take her out tonight, and I will treat her kind. I'm gonna treat her kind. You're gonna lose that girl. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. If you don't treat her right, my friend, you're gonna find her gone. Gonna find her gone. 'Cause I will treat her right, and then you'll be the lonely one. You're not the only one. You're gonna lose that girl. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. I'll make a point of taking her away from you. Watch what you do. Yeah. The way you treat her, what else can I do? You're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose that girl. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose. Yes, you're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose. Yes, you're gonna lose.
guess now time for a guitar switch, so I have to stall. God, I'll have to think of something to say.
Look busy.
I can't think of any. No, let me just say a few things. This is not even a deep cut. It was, I mean, not a hit on the radio, but it's such a powerful song. Couldn't Escape Anybody by John Lennon as he continues this path of these lyrics that are becoming quite painful for such a guy that seems like he would have the world in his hands, and he did, but yet I guess he had some insecurities about moving to the suburbs. Speaking of, the Beatlemania had become such an intrusion upon the Beatles that 3 of them left London because they couldn't go anywhere. They were prisoners of their own success, and Paul McCartney stayed behind to be the lone bachelor in London, and the politics of the band started to change a little bit here. It takes a minute for that to kick in, but for now, they are still very connected, great friends, but they can't do anything without a small riot following them. So this is one of yes, right. We're thinking in 3, fellas. Okay. Yeah. The Hallmark John Lennon song, "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away." 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
Here I stand, hand in hand, turn my face to the wall. If she's gone, I can't go home, feeling 2 foot small. Everywhere people stare, each and every day, I can see them laugh at me, and I hear them say, hey, you've got to hide your love away. Hey, you've got to hide your love away. How can I even try? I can never win. Hearing them, seeing them in the state I'm in. How could she say to me, love will find a way? Gather round, hold you close, let me hear you say, hey, you've got to hide your love away. Hey, you've got to hide your love away.
Very nice. Thank you. Clearly influenced by Bob Dylan, and John Lennon didn't mind saying what he was up to with that, because he was one of their big heroes at the time. And yeah, so times, speaking of Dylan, times they were a changing in 1965, and attitudes were changing. The Beatles were maturing, and as a matter of fact, this full album had the first orchestral instruments. It doesn't look like it, but Peyton was actually playing an alto and tenor flute, you know, so this is when, well, it's digital, you know, same thing, right? Anyway, it sounded lovely. Either way, but yeah, so George Martin started introducing to the guys, you know, the orchestra, because George Martin, their producer, was trained in the conservatory. So a nice little exchange starting to happen here with the trust in George Martin. And during the same sessions, the Beatles also recorded, or should I say Paul McCartney recorded Yesterday. So we're not gonna do that tonight because we don't have a string quartet unless we just need 2 violins and a cello. No, anyway. So
Peyton will do it after the show for you if you want to stick around.
Right.
He'll just be in the lobby doing yesterday.
he'll be the guy on the corner with the hat on the sidewalk, you know. So anyway, so the string quartet on yesterday, talk about a game changer, the politics changing. Now they really see what's possible with George Martin because their audience expanded. Now the parents and grandparents that thought they hated the Beatles, they never really did. Now they're like, oh, yesterday, yeah, that's the music. And the music critics and everybody's on the Beatles are becoming establishment now. Everybody loved them because what a beautiful song. And, you know, World Book Guinness records of all kinds of stuff with the song yesterday, most recorded, blah, blah, blah. You look it up. Anyway. So, anyway.
You can look all this up, really.
You don't need us at all.
Yeah, the transcript.
It's all on the interweb.
So, one more from that batch of Help. And this is another number one. And John Lennon claimed to have invented heavy metal.
He did.
Somehow. I'm still scratching my head on that one, but.
He claimed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you never know what he was going to say. But anyway, this was the number one hit prior to the release of the movie and Help. And it's
Matter of fact, they hadn't even named the movie yet. So when the single came out, it said this song from the new movie, 8 Arms to Hold You, which they changed to Help. There's a test, I told you.
I think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today. Yeah. The girl that's driving me mad is going away. Yeah. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. But she don't care. She said that living with me was bringing her down, yeah. But she would never be free when I was around, yeah. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She don't care. I don't know why she's riding so high. Jumping twice, she'll do right by me before she gets to saying goodbye. Jumping twice, she'll do right by me. Think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today. Yeah. The girl that's driving me mad is going away. Yeah. Oh, she's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. But she don't care. Don't know why she's riding so high. She'll think twice, she'll do right by me before she gets to saying goodbye. She'll think twice, she'll do right by me. And that living with me was bringing her down, yeah. She would never be free when I was around, yeah. Oh, she's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She don't care. My baby don't care. My baby don't care. My baby don't care. My baby don't care.
Okay, so the Beatles did their second world tour and second full tour of America in 1965 after the release of Help, including the famous Shea Stadium concert, and at the time record audience, and the whole open air concert idea was spawned on that tour. So the Beatles now having to move to stadiums, from coliseums and things like that, because they're so big, and no one had ever thunk such a thing could happen, and it did. And so and it was the usual wildness, Beatlemania, out of control, still without any let up. So, so the Beatles actually get off the road for a minute in the fall of 1965, and for the first time ever do their first uninterrupted recording session. Kind of a big deal at the time, because recording sessions, making albums and records, were just a way to capture a live performance. But the Beatles now, with all their fame and money and influence, if you will, they could kind of do what they wanted to do at this time. So they were taking over the recording studio and spent most of a month this time uninterrupted creating what would become Rubber Soul. Does anybody remember that album? Yeah. Could it be? Yeah, you're counting, right? You're keeping track. Okay.
7.
7. Only 7 know Rubber Soul.
7 people. Rubber Soul.
So, yes, songs of intrigue, self-expression, confession, if you will, inside humor, their songwriting still continuing to evolve and grow. This is really a timeless masterpiece. I mean, just as a vocal album alone, it holds up against any Beach Boys record, at least. It's pretty tough. Mayor's like, maybe so, I would say so, this one. And lots of wonderful songs, fresh new guitar sounds. George Harrison brings in the sitar. I wish we could do the whole album, but just not enough time tonight to do the whole album.
And sitars are expensive. Can't afford that. Come on.
So we're going to do a batch of those songs. Again, the Beatles, Rubber Soul. It's kind of a self-deprecating title, because they're always laughing at themselves, never taking themselves too seriously. And as they were being influenced by the R&B and soul music, Motown, Stax Records was on fire in America now, so they were trying to do their version of that, and they kind of thought of it as fake soul, same kind of thing that the Rolling Stones were doing. So always looking to their influences and bowing to them here in America, as well as songs in this new kind of co-authored subgenre that you could easily say in 1965, the Beatles, Bob Dylan, and the band The Byrds. Remember the Byrds? Yeah, everybody knows. Okay. Anyway, it's this new genre, subgenre, folk rock. Okay, so this was the happening stuff: soul music and folk rock coming out of America. That was what was hot, and so they were cashing in on it, kind of outdoing everybody else with everything on Rubber Soul. And so, so this is all originals now. After Help and Beatles for Sale had a few covers, all original compositions. George Harrison gets 2 songs on the album now. He's really neck and neck trying to get his songs with the wondrous Lennon McCartney songs. And they had a hit single separate from the album. There's 2 different versions of this album, the British, the American version. We all got kind of cheated, perhaps. But so there was a double A side. There's an A side, the hit, B side, the flip side on a single. Well, this is a double A side, so that way, when they sent this single out, DJs would play both sides as the hit, and they both were #1 hits. And we're going to do one of those now called "We Can Work It Out."
1, 2, 3, 4. Try to see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can go on? Why you see it your way, when the risk of knowing that our love may soon be gone? We can work it out, we can work it out. Think of what you'll say, you get it wrong and still you think that it's alright. Think of what I'm
Thank you. Does anybody know the name of the other double A side? That's a good guess. Well, we're going to do that song anyway.
It was rainy days and Mondays always get me down. It's a lie. You should laugh at a lie.
We'll get to that other song later. But speaking of Drive My Car, that song actually opens the official Parlophone album, Rubber Soul. And there's where you get your R&B. R&B, as per 1965, is a really funky track. And a little inside humor creeping in. See if you can catch that. And is that what we're doing? That's the right song, right? Drive My Car. Drive My Car. Here it is. Yeah.
Asked a girl what she wanted to be. She said, baby, can't you see? I want to be famous, a star on the screen. You can do something in between. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I want to be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And maybe I love you. I told that girl that my prospects were good. She said, baby, it's understood. Working for peanuts is all very fine. I can show you a better time. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you. Beep, 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 yeah. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you. I told that girl I could start right away. She said, listen, babe, I got something to say. I got my car and it's breaking my heart. But I found a driver and that's the start. Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car. And baby, I love you. Beep, 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 yeah. 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 Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, so who is the Nowhere Man anyway? Anybody? One would speculate.
No, he's the walrus.
This was one of the few songs that the Beatles actually played live in 1966 during the last of the touring years.
It wasn't very good.
It was better than Paperback Writer.
Yes.
They almost pulled this one off, yeah. All right, we got it, guys. We got
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view, knows not where he's going to. Isn't he a bit like you and me? Knowing that, please listen. You don't know what you're missing. Knowing that, the one that is at your it like you and me. No man, please listen. You don't know what you're missing. No man, is at your command. He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Making all his nowhere plans for nobody.
All right, but song maybe not quite so obviously influenced by the Byrds. Listen to Tambourine Man, Mr. Tambourine Man. And as this next one, and this is one of George Harrison's contribution on Rubber Soul, also very Byrdsy, little pre-trippy sound here, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah.
If I Needed Someone.
If I needed someone to love, you're the one that I'd be thinking of. If I needed someone, if I had some more time to spend, then I guess I'd be with you, my friend. If I needed someone, had you come some other day, then it might not have been like this. But you see, now I'm too much in love. Carve your number on my wall, and maybe you will get a call from me. If I needed someone, if I had some more time to spend, then I guess I'd be with you, my friend. If I needed someone, had you come some other day, then it might not have been like this. But you see, now I'm too much in love. Carve your number on my wall, and maybe you will get a call from me. If I needed someone,
Could this be a quintessential Beatles song? One of the best, no doubt. Tied for 20. Yeah, this goes out to the V, out there somewhere in the ether. And a feature of Peyton Grant here. How about a hand for Peyton Grant?
I do what I can.
Better than special teams with this outfit here, but certainly special teams expert. Here we go. You'll know this one.
there are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever. still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I've loved them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. And these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
Take it grand. I mean, come on, man. Those are some Baroque chops there.
That close.
Does anybody remember Flower Power? Not Martha White.
If you remember it, you weren't there.
Good point. Anyway, I have this as the first Flower Power song. It's a John Lennon song on Rubber Soul. Breaking away from the traditional connotations of love songs. It's the word love.
It's so fine, it's so
So Rubber Soul, certainly the soundscape to 1966. Everybody had this album, highly influential, and it also ushered in the beginning of album formatted music. Anybody an idea about album formatted music? The basic idea here is to make an album as an entity itself, something that's intended to be listened to in its entirety, like you're listening to Beethoven's Fifth and all four movements. And up to that time, an album was just like a collection of singles. That's all anybody in the record industry were thinking about. But now the Beatles, being much more thoughtful, put together something much more thoughtful at setting new trends in pop music. So it's kind of the birth of this new format. So the Beatles, going into 1966, as usual, they're still touring around Europe, and they're starting their next album project. And this is going to kind of wrap up this segment, our presentation tonight, of Beatlemania 2, because after the year of 1966, the Beatles don't tour anymore and become a studio band, as most everybody knows. So, which is kind of an astonishing thing in itself, to think about a band quitting touring. That was kind of unheard of at the time, but it was dangerous for them, and they couldn't hear themselves, and they were really just interested in writing and being in the studio. Anyway, so this next album that we're going to play selections from was called Revolver, if you remember. And not that they were low output or anything, but this is the only album that they recorded in 1966. But it's a humdinger. It is the first experimental album. Did I say what? That was your first album. Wow. Well, you started, sophisticated there. Yeah, that's a good one to start with. But so this experimental album and a new individualized format. So clearly now it's individualized songs and they're still collaborating, but they're helping each other with their own songs now. It's starting to get a little bit more individualized, and that will remain through the Beatles' tenure together, that format. So in this album that was started recording the spring of 1966 into the summer, two new subgenres were born that the Beatles invented themselves. That's not an easy thing to do, is to invent a genre of music, if you will. Anybody? Any ideas? What they invented on Revolver?
I know.
So go.
What they invented on Revolver?
Yes.
Backward stuff.
Yeah. Well, yes, there's lots of experiments in the avant-garde. Okay, so Paul McCartney was listening to Stockhausen and Berlioz and hanging out in London, going to these avant-garde presentations like John Cage. He was hanging out with him and people like that. So he's kind of saying, hey, maybe we can work this into the act, because the Beatles kind of could do what they wanted to do, unlike most pop musicians, or any kind of musicians for that matter, except jazz musicians. So we come up with a new genre, psychedelic. Tomorrow Never Knows, right? Okay, no one's ever heard anything like that. That was shocking. And George Harrison put together a full Indian ensemble, sitars, tablas, that sort of thing, with the song Love You Too. Hence the birth of world music, the East and the West combined here by George Harrison himself. So these really brazen experiments, and because the Beatles, they're not worried about getting anything on the radio at this point in time. They're serious artists. They're men now. They're trying to shed the Fab Four.
They were 24.
Yeah, well, they grew up fast, right? They couldn't play any of these songs live. There was nothing off this album. I don't think that they did live.
The A side to the single, the B side we're about to play.
Right. So yeah, they did release. So Jeff Emmerich was a 19-year-old engineer that helped with a lot of these recording innovations. Won't go into all that now, technical stuff. And George Martin and the Beatles, all pistons firing, enormous creativity, and another masterpiece, somewhat overshadowed by controversy that was going to be becoming a mainstay with the Beatles now.
It started right here in Birmingham, Alabama. True. The Jesus controversy. Lennon said that Jesus were more popular than the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. He said it in a whole long interview. In context, he was actually saying it was wrong that more people, kids, he was talking about kids going to pop concerts more than they were going to church. That seemed to whatever. But there was a DJ in Birmingham, Alabama, that picked up on that, and he started that whole Beatle burning thing. His name was Tommy Charles. And he's the one that started that whole thing.
Yeah, so
He
their
was
first.
my dad's radio partner, as a matter of damn fact. So, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, John Ed, Tommy Charles. Anyway, well, it was a good stunt. They got a lot of.
Yeah, they
attention.
got some publicity.
Got
yeah.
some albums burned and all that stuff. But, you know,
We got lots of Beatle albums in the mail for that. We were supposed to burn them, but we kept them, you know.
somehow the Beatles survived, and so as Revolver's released in August with all this going on, they also do their last tour. They didn't announce it, but they did their last tour of the States and called it quits. And
All because of Tommy Charles.
right.
He broke up the Beatles.
Okay, so we're going to play a cut from their single that was recorded during the Revolver sessions. And wow, one of our faves here. It's called Rain. Here we go.
If the rain comes, they run and hide their head. We might as well be dead. If the rain comes, if the rain comes, and the sunshine slip into the shade. When the sunshine sipping lemonade. When the sun shines, when the sun shines, I don't mind. Shine, the weather's fine. Let me show you that when it starts to rain, when the rain comes down, nothing looks the same. I can show you, I can show you rain. I don't mind. Shine, the weather's fine. Can you hear me when it rains and shines? That's just a state of mind. Can you hear me? Can you hear
All right. You guys like the later stuff, right? Okay, so George Harrison has 3 songs on Revolver. It's kind of a big deal, you know? And not only that, he gets the opener for the album, a political song. Go figure. Beatles again, doing whatever they want to do and things that hadn't quite been done before. So this is the sparkling starter to Revolver, Taxman.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
4.
Let me tell you how it will be. There's 1 for you, 19 for me.
Forgot about that. Go ahead, Aaron. Aaron Branson with the Batman bass. Sporting, instead of his typical Hofner, the Rickenbacker bass that McCartney started using on Rubber Soul, as a matter of fact. So staying true to historical importance here.
Because that's how we are. That's how we roll.
That's right. Like Jay's new guitar. Tell me about your new guitar, Jay.
Well, you wouldn't mention that when I put it down.
Oh, okay. Well, when you get that one back on, this is the yeah.
So over here, his name is Gibby. I think. I don't know yet. Y'all can name him later. I just got him last week. I'll be paying for the next 30 years.
Oh, and speaking of backwards, this song, like Rain, sported the first backwards vocals that we tried to emulate, I think quite well. And this has backwards guitar, sounds that people never heard before on Revolver. So,
Still might not.
yeah. Here we go.
Wake up early in the morning, lift my head. I'm still yawning when I'm in the middle of a dream. Stay in bed, float upstream. Please don't wake me, no, don't shake me, leave me where I am. I'm only sleeping. Everybody seems to think I'm lazy. I don't mind. I think they're crazy, running everywhere just to speed till they find there's no need. Please don't spoil my day. I'm miles away. After all, I'm only sleeping. Keeping an eye on the world going by my window. Taking my time, lying and staring at the ceiling. Waiting for a sleepy feeling. Please don't spoil my day. I'm miles away. And after all, I'm only sleeping. Keeping an eye on the world going by my window. Taking my time when I wake up early in the morning. Lift my head, I'm still yawning when I'm in the middle of a dream. Lay in bed, float upstream. Please don't wake me now, don't shake me, leave me where I am. I'm only sleeping.
Well, it's getting on time to close, y'all. Yeah, I mean, we could possibly talk into doing another song. Anyway. Live people. Thank you. Anyway.
He didn't beg for that or anything, did he?
Yeah, right. So, gosh, it's a band fave here, a deep cut off Revolver, and a couple of things about it. Peter Fonda influenced this one.
That's true.
Yes, that's where Lennon pinched the title and theme of the song. Doesn't really make much sense. That's okay, because he could do that. He did it very well. And also, a little story. This is the last song on the Revolver session, and there was a fight. Yes, a Beatles fight, and Paul McCartney got mad and left, so he's not even on the song. We love Paul.
Yeah.
But-
It's like the only one, too.
No, that was George playing bass. Yeah, yeah.
Aaron just learned something, see? Our own bass player just learned something.
He's usually teaching us, you know.
It's true.
These days. Youngster. All right. She said, she said.
She said, I know what it's like to be dead. I know what it is to be sad. 'Cause she's making me feel like I've never been born. I said, who put all those things in your head? Things that make me feel that I'm bad. And you're making me feel like I've never been born. She said, you don't understand what I said. I said, no, 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 you're wrong. When I was a boy, everything was right. Everything was right. I said, even though you know what you know, I know that I'm ready to leave. 'Cause you're making me feel like I've never been born. She said, you don't understand what I said. I said, no, 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 you're wrong. When I was a boy, everything was right. Everything was right. I said, even though you know what you know, I know that I'm ready to leave. 'Cause you're making me feel like I've never been born. She said, I know what it's like to be dead. I know what it is to be sad. I know what it's like to be dead.
Far enough. We hoped you would do that. It's really awkward when you don't. So thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here. Actually, I love playing here. Bruce, George, Philip, all the guys, Benny, just wonderful. But yeah, man, what an operation here, and it's to survive in these times and flourish. And this place is going to be around, do lots of great stuff for a long time. Very honored to be here and a part of it, and to play here several times somehow, and maybe they'll let us come back. So, yeah, what would be a good, banger for the
I
encore?
don't know. What should we play?
And should you jump into your thing? Oh, no. All right. How about that double A side single? Remember, We Can Work It Out, the flip side. Did anybody ever get that? You're giving it away.
He's practicing.
He's practicing. Okay. Well, go ahead. You already given it away.
Find out, I found out. She's a big teaser. She took me half the way there. She's a big teaser. She took me half the way there now. She was a day tripper, one-way ticket, yeah. It took me so long to find out. I found out. Trying to please her. She only played one night stands. Trying to please her. She only played one night stands now. She was a day tripper, Sunday driver, yeah. It took me so long to find out. I found out. Day tripper, yeah. Day tripper, yeah. Day tripper, yeah. Day tripper, yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Be safe. See you soon. Thanks, everybody.